By the time you hit your 40s, you're probably doing 3 full-time jobs at once: career, family, and keeping the household afloat, and feeling like there's never enough energy left for you. That chronic, creeping exhaustion isn't just a mood. It's burnout quietly stealing your joy. First, I'm going to share simple, practical habits that actually protect your energy so you can show up for work and family without feeling empty at the end of the day. Welcome to your daily reset. Dr. Victor Leland here again. No pep talks, no miracle overnight fixes. 5 real habits you can try tomorrow, and real-life ways to fit them into a crowded schedule. First, small boundaries that save huge amounts of energy: a 30-minute no-contact block before bed, or a calendar block that turns into your quiet work time. Second, micro rests that actually recharge: a 2-minute breathing pause between meetings, a 10-minute walk after school drop-off. Third, ruthless prioritizing. Pick one meaningful task each morning and let the rest wait. Fourth, tiny delegation moves. Teach your teen to handle dinner twice a week or outsource one recurring errand. Fifth, a simple evening reset ritual. Switch off screens an hour before bed and write down tomorrow's one priority. These aren't big evictions of your life. They're small switches that stack. Try one habit for a week, track how you feel, then add another. Ask your partner for one concrete chore swap this week. Trade a full evening of catching up for a 20-minute walk and notice the difference. Stay with me. In the next part, first I'll walk you through exactly how to build each habit into a busy week, give scripts to ask for help without guilt, and offer a 7-day plan you can start today. If you're ready to stop surviving and start pacing your life with purpose, try one tiny change tomorrow and tell me which one in the comments. 1. Burnout signs working women 35 to 55 ignore. Subtle shifts in mood, energy, and performance are often the first clues that burnout is building, and they rarely arrive as dramatic warnings. Many working women in their 35 to 55 age range report chronic tiredness that sleep doesn't fix, a creeping sense of detachment from work and family, trouble concentrating, and more frequent illnesses. These are real, measurable signs: persistent exhaustion, cognitive fog, emotional numbness or increased cynicism, sleep disturbances, unexplained aches, and a shrinking capacity for joy. Hormonal fluctuations, caregiving demands, and high responsibility roles can make these symptoms look like just a busy season, so they get normalized and ignored. The easiest and most immediate step is to name what's happening and stop minimizing it. Small, practical actions change the trajectory. Start by tracking one symptom for a week. Note when it spikes, what happened before it, and how long it lasted. Then choose one targeted response: a medical check-in, a boundary, a short rest ritual, or a conversation with your manager. Real change often begins with a single concrete act. Many women dismiss chronic fatigue as poor time management when it may be a sign of untreated medical issues or sleep disruption. See your primary care clinician to rule out thyroid issues, anemia, or sleep apnea if you find you're falling asleep at your desk despite 8 hours in bed. Cognitive fog is commonly written off as multitasking stress, yet the practical fix is restructuring tasks. Batch similar activities, put your most demanding work in your best energy window, and use a paper or digital checklist so your memory isn't doing extra work. Emotional numbness and irritability get labeled stress too easily. Try tracking triggers for 2 weeks and build micro rests, 3 short breath-to-movement breaks per day, for example, before a meeting or at the school run. Sleep problems deserve their own focused approach. Reduce evening screen time by an hour, standardize wake time, and keep a sleep log to bring to your clinician if insomnia persists. Physical complaints, headaches, back and neck pain, are signals, not inevitable facts of life. A short course with a physiotherapist or a guided workplace ergonomics adjustment can make a noticeable difference in weeks. Integration into a busy life must be realistic and non-judgmental. Swap "first I'll do it later" for "first we'll try this today for 10 minutes, and then protect that 10 minutes as you would a client call. Delegate one household task to a partner, teen, or paid helper, and notice the relief. At work, ask for a 15-minute buffer before and after back-to-back meetings so you can reset. Try a simple experiment. For 14 days, pick one sign you've been ignoring. say midday exhaustion, and respond with one small repeatable habit like a 12-minute movement break at 2 p.m. Then log energy levels. Small, consistent changes are easier to maintain than sweeping overhauls, and they compound into real recovery. Take one practical step right now. Choose the most persistent sign you've been downplaying and set a single, non-negotiable action. Schedule a 20-minute appointment with your clinician. Block 2 10-minute reset breaks on your calendar this week, or ask your manager for a small workload adjustment. Be kind to yourself. Noticing these signs is progress. You deserve attention, not just to survive, but to thrive. 2. Why standard advice fails for busy moms. Many productivity pep talks assume long, predictable stretches of time and steady energy. That expectation collides with the reality most women in their 40s and early 50s know well. Fragmented days, caregiving interruptions, and hormonal shifts that make energy levels unpredictable. Standard advice like wake up at 5 a.m., work in 90-minute blocks, or just say no sounds neat on paper but often collapses when the school calls, a parent needs a ride, or night sweats interrupt sleep. The result is frustration and guilt, not more calm or control. One major reason standard tips fail is cognitive load. Decision-making capacity is a finite resource, and when you spend it on schedules, snacks, homework, and medical appointments, there's less left for deep work or self-care. Short, sharp disruptions, an abrupt email, a spouse's late request, a teenager's sudden project deadline, undo plans faster than you can rebuild them. Another key issue is mismatched recommendations. Advice aimed at a single professional or a parent with regular childcare overlooks shared custody schedules, shift work, or caring for aging parents. Practical constraints like commute timing, employer inflexibility, and irregular sleep patterns make one-size-fits-all strategies ineffective. Practical solutions shift the question from why aren't first doing what they tell me to how can habits be redesigned for micro windows and unpredictability. Small decision light systems work better. For example, instead of a long morning routine, create a 2-minute anchor ritual that stabilizes you during chaos, a quick breathing reset, a protein snack you can grab, and a packed bag by the door. Use if-then plans. If the daycare calls, then first move my 30-minute task to the next evening block and send a short update to my boss. Prepare decision-free resources, prepped meals, a ready-to-go homework station, and a shared family calendar with color-coded responsibilities so you conserve mental energy for higher priority choices. Concrete examples help. Swap a full weekly meal overhaul for 3 reliable dinners your household accepts, 1 slow cooker, 1 sheet pan, 1 store-assembled salad. If you're balancing a job with evening classes and a spouse who travels, set a single, explicit delegation. Assign grocery pickup to a willing family member twice a week. No debate, just an agreed role. When deep work is essential, use tiny time boxes, 20 minutes of focused work between pickups, followed by a micro break to reset. Track what actually fits into the day for 2 weeks, and then adapt. This gives data, not shame. And remember, bodily changes in midlife often alter sleep and stamina, so build habits that tolerate variability rather than demanding perfection. Integration is about testing and iteration. Pick one tiny habit that removes decisions, a lunch box by the door, a Sunday 10-minute list of priorities, or a nightly 3-minute prep to set out clothes and lunches. Try it for 10 days, notice what broke and what held, then tweak. Communicate boundaries with concise scripts. First can't take that on today, first can help Wednesday, and practice them once before you need them. Use technology selectively. Shared calendars, automated grocery orders, and calendar attachments that outline who does what can reduce friction. Above all, reframe success as resilience, habits that bend, not break, when life does. You don't need to wait for a perfect block of time to build habits that protect you from burnout. Pick one micro habit to try tomorrow morning. Keep it tiny, and observe without judgment. Small changes that respect limited time and fluctuating energy add up faster than big, idealized plans. Try one, adjust it, keep going. 3. Core habits that prevent exhaustion. Long-term chronic stress quietly reshapes energy systems. Sleep gets lighter, concentration thins, and small tasks feel heavier than they used to. That steady wear shows up as mid-afternoon crashes, waking multiple times at night, or the sense that rest never really restores you. Women balancing caregiving, careers, and household logistics often carry this load for years, and the result is exhaustion that compounds rather than resolves. You can blunt and reverse that trend by building 3 practical, sustainable habits into daily life: predictable recovery rhythms, targeted energy inputs, and boundary architecture. Each one addresses a different fuel system: sleep and rest, nutrition and movement, and how time and tasks are allocated. Together, they stop depletion before it deepens. Make recovery predictable. Consistent wake times and a reliable wind-down signal train your body to restore more efficiently. For example, aim for a phone-free wind-down of 20 to 45 minutes before bed. Dim lights, herbal tea, gentle stretches, or a short guided breathing check-in. Morning light matters too. Stepping outside for 5 minutes after waking helps anchor circadian rhythms and improves daytime alertness. Real life. Claire, a 46-year-old project manager and mom, started opening curtains and standing on the porch for 5 minutes while the kids packed lunches. She reports fewer groggy mornings. Keep routines simple and repeatable. Consistency beats perfection. Feed energy deliberately. Small shifts in what and when you eat, plus brief movement bouts, protect against steady declines in stamina. Prioritize a protein-rich breakfast to stabilize blood glucose after an overnight fast. Hydration between meetings and a few protein-rich snacks during long days prevent the roller coaster energy dips that make late afternoons brutal. Movement doesn't need to be an hour at the gym. 10-minute brisk walks, 2 weekly sessions of resistance work to preserve muscle, and a short mobility routine before bed all add up. A practical example. When Janelle found herself drained by 3 p.m., she started carrying a water bottle and scheduling a 12:30 walk with a colleague. Now she returns to the desk clearer and less tempted by coffee. Shape time and expectations with boundary architecture. Saying no, delegating tasks, and creating ritualized transitions reduce cognitive load. End-of-work shutdown rituals, a brief to-do update, calendar review, and a verbal or written signal to family create separation so evenings actually feel like rest. In the home, simple chore charts or a rotating weekend responsibility list give everyone clarity. Outsourcing a recurring task, even once a month, can free more restorative time than a single late-night catch-up. Try framing requests specifically. Instead of "first need help," say, "Can you handle laundry on Saturday mornings?" Clear asks are easier for others to respond to. Put practices together in small, testable steps. Start with 1 micro habit for 2 weeks. A 10-minute evening wind down or a midday walk. Attach it to an existing cue like the second cup of coffee or the afternoon school pickup. Track it on a calendar and celebrate 5 wins in a row. Next, add a second micro habit. Perhaps a 3-item grocery list focused on quick protein options or a 5-minute pre-dinner family huddle to assign simple chores. If a plan fails, tweak the cue or shrink the step. Habits rarely break because they're hard, but because the cue routine reward loop didn't fit real life. You don't need an overhaul to start feeling better. Pick a single specific action. Block 20 minutes tonight for a phone-free wind down or schedule a 10-minute walk tomorrow at lunch and put it in your calendar now. Try it for 2 weeks, then add another. Small, steady changes protect your energy for the long run. You've managed so much already. This is about giving yourself the simple systems that make doing it sustainable. 4. Daily boundaries and recovery practices. Chronic stress changes how your brain and body respond to daily demands. It fragments sleep, makes decision-making heavier, and narrows emotional bandwidth. Many working mothers in midlife report that the day never truly ends because devices, expectations, and caregiving tasks bleed into evenings. That constant bleed increases fatigue and makes recovery, real recovery, hard to find. Start by naming the problem out loud and then take 1 corrective step. Decide on a clear stop time for work and treat it like a dentist appointment you can't cancel. Turn off email notifications, set an out of office for evenings, or schedule a short auto reply that tells people you're offline until morning. Short, decisive actions like these reduce the mental tug of unfinished tasks and protect the transition from work to home life. Now add small, restorative practices that fit your life. Use a physical signal to mark the end of work. Close the laptop and put it in a drawer, hang a scarf on the doorknob, or change into different clothes. Do a micro recovery after work. 3 to 5 minutes of deep diaphragmatic breathing, a quick drink of cold water to reset, or a brisk walk outside to get some daylight and change your sensory input. For sleep, create a predictable wind-down routine. Dim lights, cool the bedroom, and use a calming activity like progressive muscle relaxation or quiet reading. Many women find that a consistent pre-sleep ritual helps with fragmented sleep and night waking. If menopause symptoms affect you, try layered bedding you can adjust, a bedside fan, or breathable fabrics to make temperature shifts easier to manage. Integration is all about tiny experiments and systems. Pick one boundary to test for a week, no work after a chosen hour, a tech-free dinner, or a 2-minute grounding practice at the top of every transition, and notice what changes. Use your calendar not just for meetings, but for recovery slots labeled transition or family time. Tell your household what this boundary means. For example, say, when my laptop is closed, first I'm present for dinner. Enlist a friend or partner as an accountability buddy. Create a recovery kit you can grab. A small bottle of water, a calming essential oil roller, a notepad to brain dump worries, and an eye mask for naps or quick rest. Try one concrete step tonight. Turn off work notifications and put your laptop away at your chosen stop time. If that feels impossible, shorten the first step. Close one app, silence one notification, and build from there. You deserve boundaries that protect your energy. Small, consistent practices add up, and you'll notice clearer focus, calmer evenings, and more reserves for the people and projects that matter. 5. Time management micro-habits for work-life balance. Reducing decision fatigue and creating tiny, repeatable routines are among the most effective ways to protect energy across a busy day. Many women report the same pattern. Days feel chopped into fragments, quick meetings, interrupted focus, and evenings that belong more to email than to family. That fragmentation is the problem. It chips away at patience, joy, and the bandwidth needed for both work and home. Small habits can be the solution. Start with a 2 5-minute start-of-day ritual that converts vague intentions into a concrete plan. For example, spend 3 minutes each morning scanning the calendar and identifying the one non-negotiable work task and one family task for the day. Do it while pouring coffee or brushing teeth, so it attaches to something you already do. Another micro-habit is a 2-minute end-of-meeting wrap. Jot one sentence of next steps and add a calendar reminder. It stops loose threads from leaking into your evening. Here are practical micro-habits you can try with short examples from everyday life. Use time blocking with a twist. Protect 2 short, focused blocks, 30 to 60 minutes, labeled priority work, and treat them like meetings. Sarah, a product lead, blocks a 45-minute slot after school drop-off to draft proposals and turns off notifications during that time. Email and message batching works wonders. Check email twice a day at set times and use a 2-minute rule for quick replies. The ones you can answer in 2 minutes get sent. Everything else goes on a to-do list. Build buffer mini blocks of 10 to 15 minutes between meetings to reset. When those buffers aren't scheduled, meetings overrun and your next task becomes reactive instead of chosen. Transition rituals stitch the day together. Create a home arrival routine. Put your keys in the same spot, change shoes, and spend 5 minutes asking your child about their day and noting one thing for dinner prep. These tiny anchors tell your brain that one role has ended and another begins. For evenings, try a 10-minute shutdown ritual. Close all tabs unrelated to tomorrow's priority. Set a 3-item task list for the next day, and mute work chat. Linda, a team manager, swears that her 5-minute evening tidy and task list cut bedtime anxiety in half and made family time feel calmer. If caregiving for aging parents or coordinating with a partner adds complexity, use shared color-coded calendar blocks for critical events so everyone sees pickup windows, appointments, and protected focus times at a glance. Integrating micro-habits means starting tiny and stacking them onto current routines. Pick one habit and use it for a full week before adding another. Habit stacking is simple. Attach the new habit to an existing trigger, after morning coffee, after lunch, right when you log off. Use reminders that feel gentle, a calendar alert, a sticky note on the fridge, or a short audible chime on your phone. Track progress, not with rigid metrics, but with 2 questions each night. Did first protect one focus block today? Did first end work with a short shutdown? If yes, celebrate. If no, note 1 tweak for tomorrow. Try 1 micro habit now. Set a 5-minute timer at the end of today to create a 3-item task list for tomorrow and block your most important 45-minute focus slot on the calendar. Do it for 7 days. Notice how decision fatigue eases, how family transitions become smoother, and how small, consistent choices rebuild your capacity. Start small, be kind to yourself, and share the win with someone at home. This is how lasting balance begins. 6. Results. Women achieve with consistent application. Consistent small daily habits shift the way work, family, and personal time feel. Energy becomes steadier, clarity replaces fog, and evenings are less about catching up and more about living. Many women notice this not as a dramatic overnight fix, but as a steady drift toward fewer crisis moments, more predictable days, and a clearer sense of what matters. The problem most of us start with is chronic fragmentation, interrupted work, scattered attention, and the slow accumulation of exhaustion. The solution is not another productivity hack. It's a set of repeatable, realistic behaviors that over weeks reshape routines and expectations. Start seeing outcomes in concrete ways. Mornings become calmer when you protect a brief, consistent ritual before the household wakes. A 10-minute breathing break, a priority list of 3 things, or a short movement session. That small window reduces reactive decision-making all day. At work, carving 1 uninterrupted block for deep focus, even 45 minutes, means tasks that used to spill into evenings now finish before pickup time. Quiet pockets like this multiply, and so do finished projects. The result is less mental carryover into family time and a real reduction in evening screen-driven work. Relationships improve too. When boundaries get enforced, saying no to an extra meeting, delegating a household task, or ending work at a set time, resentment decreases. Partners and kids often respond positively once consistency shows a pattern. Fewer last-minute cancellations, more predictable dinner times, and deeper attention in short bursts. Social life benefits as well. Women who keep a weekly micro-habit for connection, such as a 30-minute catch-up call or a neighborhood walk with a friend, report feeling more emotionally refueled and less isolated. Those pockets of connection recharge resilience. Health and well-being follow. Better sleep habits, regular movement, and a steadier eating rhythm reduce the spikes of fatigue that lead to reactive coping like overeating or late-night scrolling. Many women notice mood stability and a drop in that mid-afternoon dip simply by protecting a consistent lunchtime walk or by prioritizing 3 nourishing meals. Energy becomes a predictable resource instead of an emergency stash. Practical examples: batching meals once a week to free weekday mental load, using a short bedtime routine to end the day, or tracking 1 stress trigger to address it directly. Each tactic is small. Together, they compound. Integration feels doable when you start small and scale slowly. Choose 1 habit to stick to for 2 weeks, say a 15-minute evening wind down, and treat it like an experiment, not a test. Keep a simple note of when it worked and when it didn't. Adjusting expectations is part of the process. Over time, those 2-week wins stack into weeks and months where mornings are less rushed. Performance at work is calmer, and evenings have more presence. Celebrate small wins. Share them with a friend or partner, so the change gains social momentum. Commit to 1 tiny action today and reassess in a fortnight. Try scheduling a single uninterrupted focus block or a short wind-down routine and watch what shifts. Fewer burned-out afternoons, clearer priorities, and more time for things that matter. You don't need to remake your life overnight. Just keep showing up for 1 small habit and notice how your world realigns. You're not failing. You're stretched thin, and that constant, low-level exhaustion is real. Imagine finishing the day with a little energy left instead of feeling like a flat battery. That's what these burnout-proof habits aim for. Small, practical changes that protect your time, energy, and joy. The solution is simple. Choose tiny, repeatable habits and make them non-negotiable. Key points to remember. 1. Micro rests, 5 to 10 minute resets. 2. Clear boundaries, calendar blocks and no scripts. 3. Weekly planning. 4. Short movement breaks. 5. Consistent sleep-friendly routines. And 6. Asking for help and sharing the load. A few quick examples. Anna, 44, started a 10-minute reset after school pickup. No screens, just sitting with a cup of tea. And it changed how evening chaos felt. Maria blocks 45 minutes in her calendar for focused work and leaves a 30-minute buffer before family time. Even a 7-minute walk after lunch can shift your energy enough to get through the afternoon without doom scrolling. Tomorrow's integration plan. Pick one habit, start with micro rests, put it on your calendar, tell one person you'll try it this week, and celebrate the small wins. If you want a concrete template, try this day. Morning hydration, plus 15-minute priority task, plus midday 10-minute walk, plus 1 outgoing no for non-essential requests, plus tech off 60 minutes before bed. If this resonated, subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss the next video. First, I'll walk through exact scripts for saying no and a 15-minute evening routine to help you sleep better. Drop one habit you'll try in the comments or grab the one-page cheat sheet linked below to get started today. You deserve energy, ease, and time for what matters. One small habit at a time.